Goody goody goody, everyone! This is Dayhawk, bringing to you episode 52 of Shaman King 01. Well, guys, Happy New Year! And today is training day. Well, not for you guys, of course, but for the Yoh Yohs. And they need it too because Hao had his match, and typical how he kills his opponents and he leaves, while the other two just stood there just in awe and watching the whole thing burn over. Then we get to see Mikihisa reading the newspaper, the Patch Times. Yeah, guys, I had to do it. I had to get that clip. And it leads to the Yoh Yohs eating, and Silva is telling them that every match Hal gets involved, the opponent's face ends up getting killed. And all of a sudden Mikihisa just pops out of nowhere while Ren and Ryu are arguing about something. And Mikihisa takes everybody outside to the canyons, to the desert, and offers them training because he knows, and I'm sure everybody in their teams know, that they can't they're not up to the task of facing Hao, and they know this, so they figure, oh, okay, let's start training. And so they split up to their respective teams, and they needed to come up with a plan. Okay, if I'm the spirit of fire, what would you do? What would you do? What's your game plan? And while the Fuda Hot Springs are coming up with one, Team Ren has no clue. And here's the funny thing that happened. Both of them apparently had the same idea. They end up combining their spirits together, and they ended up having this weird looking duel while the others are just standing there. I'm like, what is this? I mean, if they were to match the spirit of fire with height, I think they kind of match it, but with power and strength, I don't know. It was pretty goofy. Even Anna points out, yeah, this is a horrible start. So Mikihisa unleashes his spirits to, I don't know, to just make him the oversoul or something, because at the end of it, everybody was falling off. Yeah, it was really, really bad, as you can see from this pic. Anyway, Mikihisa offers another way in terms of, do you want to train on how to use Furyoku? So this next step of this training is to write something on a rice with a brush. And once they did that, Mikihisa throws the rice, and the goal is to use the Furyoku to find their prospective rice. And of course, the boys were complaining, and rightfully so, because how on earth would you be able to find your piece of rice in the middle of nowhere? It's like literally a needle in a haystack. And while they're like arguing, Anna just kicks them off the cliff. And it took them the whole day, but they couldn't find anything. And whoop, something fell. And they got a ring from their oracle bell. And apparently Team Fura Hot Springs are facing Oceans 3. Yeah, you will see why I'm laughing. The name is pretty goofy, but Moving on. The Lily 5 has never been in a match since they got to the village. And they're just wondering, like, we haven't been in a match for so long. Like, what's taking the Great Spirit so long? And the Yoh Yohs come in, and they kind of knew what was going down with the Lily 5, and they put it on blast, and you could tell by their reactions, like, oh no, that's not it, they're just saving the best for last, and that sort of thing. And I feel bad for them because their team is uneven. They're 5, and they need one more shaman to make things even, but unfortunately they need to choose which 3 to go do the match, while the others maybe have to forfeit their spots in the tournament, which kind of sucks. And they could at least find a shaman who doesn't have a team, but at this point the majority of the teams are already gone, so I mean they're pretty much screwed at this point. Meanwhile, Team Ren is still trying to find their rice, and poor Ren is too stubborn to actually admit that they're not gonna find anything. And it took them all day, to the point where it was early morning and you see their quote-unquote corpses, so they're like dead tired. Meanwhile, Team Harafuda Springs faces the Oceans 3, and not only that their team name is goofy, but their spirits are not okay. They have a turtle, they have a turtle, a fish, and a bird. And their outfits, they're wearing diver outfits. And Ryu pointed it out that, okay, you're Ocean's 3, but you have a spirit bird that is not related to the ocean. So, and even the spirit bird was like, oh shit, yeah, I got called out. And one of the members of Ocean's 3 also pointed it out, like, okay, you're gonna play this game fine. He points out too that what does a samurai have to do with a hot spring? And Anna gets all pissed off, saying that he dared to criticize the name I came up with. And I'm surprised that she didn't just go jump over to the arena and just hop on the back of the turtle and just slaps the person, whoever said that. And so the main purpose for the goal, aside from winning the match, is that they need to stop relying on their giant-sized oversouls. That's part of their training. They need to come up with something else other than quickly relying on their oversized oversouls. but they're stuck. And Ryu was the first to go head on, but unfortunately, he gets knocked off, I guess. Gets flinged by the tortoise, and then it's Faust's turn. Again, it's not doing any good, so they get flung to the air. Then Yoh is the last one and does the same thing as the other two, and he gets flown away just like the others. And what makes matters worse, they try to do it all as a team and still gets flown off. So it's up to Ocean's 3 to attack them, and they've been chased. Oh my god, the group has been on the run, being chased by a giant turtle, a giant fish, and a giant bird. And I'm surprised we didn't get any reaction from the audience. You know, I'm really am shocked. And Ryu tries to do the big thumb method. I don't know why, because we all know what the big thumb oversoul does. It's to summon Billy, the star of the show. But he ends up getting crushed and eliminated. And out of desperation, Yoh and Faust did their oversouls, and that pretty much failed. They failed in their training. And meanwhile, Ren is getting frustrated to the point where he nearly killed Horo and Choco Love. And meanwhile, you see poor Billy going back and forth, like, what's going on? Like, where am I supposed to go? And yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then Ren is going crazy here because he's yelling and screaming, and he can't find his rice, man. And then Silva declares Hanaburi Hot Springs the winner, and you see Ocean's 3 crying while, even though they won, they still lost because they failed on what they needed to do. Because again, the training was, well, the goal was not only to win the match, but use something else other than the giant oversoul to keep on relying on. And everybody that we know of, it's just gave a disappointed look. Everybody from Mikihisa, Anna, even Hao was disappointed in the match. He was so disappointed, and he just went up and and then it cuts into the scene at the very end where Yoh, Faust, and Ryu just walks past the Lily Five, disappointed, and the girls are like, "Wait, what's going on? Did you lose?" And Yoh mentioned, "No, we won, but." We won, but we lost at the same time. And the girls are like, oh, I don't get this. And then all of a sudden their oracle bell rings and they finally have a match. But they mention, but when they mention the group's name on who they face, which is the team star, the Yoh Yohs from the next table were like, oh shit. I'm like, girls, what did you just say? Yeah, Team Star, do you know who that is? And Yoh was like, that's Hao's team. Sorry from the back noise. There's nothing I can do about that. And there was a brief moment where like the girl was like, "How? Who the hell is How?" Until they finally realized who How was, and they let out a giant scream, knowing that they're so screwed. And then it ends with How looking at his oracle bell, mentioning the Lily Five's group name, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know who they are, but I'm gonna, I'm sure I'm gonna crush them." And that's the end. Oh my god, this episode was funny. Very funny. I enjoyed it very much. And this is something that's missing from the reboot, to be honest. But I don't want to jump the gun just yet. I will mention my overall comparison between the two at the once both the old one and the 2021 versions are all done. And it's going to be a giant size video, so be prepared for that. Overall, like I said, very funny episode. It just gives the characters like, hey, you can't rely on your same techniques all the time, because it may not help you win a match when your opponents know you keep relying on the same thing. You need to improve and come up with new and better ways to throw off your opponent and win the match, hopefully. And that's the whole reason of this episode. Because after Hao's match, Mikihisa thought that the group really needs some more training, but even he knows that even with the training he is offering, they may not have a chance to face him, even if it is a handicap match. So that's really the sad part of the whole situation. Anyway, guys, thank you for sticking around. Did I miss anything? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What is it? Comment down below. Please subscribe. Give a like if you like it. If you don't like it, give a dislike. I don't care. And Happy New Year, guys. And I hope 2022 will be better than last year, but I wouldn't get my hopes on it, because for me, your Danger Prince is having a bad start in this new year. But hopefully things will get better, and hopefully this channel will improve and get more subscribers. Everything for the better, Anyway, guys, thank you, and I will see you all on the other side of oblivion. Johnny!